So I will be presenting what has helped me in college. The discovery wheel has helped me. It made me ask myself what I discovered about myself and what I wanted to keep doing and what would I change. And you discover your skills and your weaknesses on the wheel. And I discovered that I need to probably be more better at communicating and stuff like that because I'm not a very good communicator sometimes. Learning my learning style, it helped me learn how I prefer to learn. There are 4 different styles of learning. There's a visual learner, and it's how things look. Auditory is hearing stuff, and read and writing learning is words, you learn the words. And then kinesthetic learning is moving, you actually have to do it. And I had a typo. I have learned that I have to hear it and see it. I'm a hands-on learner. I have to be in person and do it, and I do stuff better in person than I do online, or stuff like that. I have to be all hands-on. And then the third thing that has helped me is setting goals and achieving them. And then I have to ask myself, do I set goals regularly? And you have to write them down, and you have to be really specific about your goals. If you want a long-term goal, then you need to leave at least 5 to 20 years to achieve them. Sometimes it's a lifetime because the goal includes your career, your travel, and your family, how you plan to have a family and stuff like that. And that's gonna be a few more years for me, and I have to graduate college for my career. And if that's gonna take a while. And then leave 1 to 5 years for midterm goals. That's kind of that'd be kind of me graduating. My midterm goal is graduate college, so that'll take about 4. This is my first year, so it'll probably take about 3 more after this. And so that should be a midterm goal. And then if you have a short-term goal, that should take less than a year to achieve, or shorter, because I want to do my homework on the regular. That's you should go ahead and achieve that. And this has helped me because I started setting goals and pushing myself. You have to push yourself to get your goals achieved. And then time management, you need to learn to use your time wisely. I'm a student athlete, so I had to learn to balance my social life, my athletic life, and my schoolwork, because it's a lot different than high school. I have learned that. And you have to make times for important events and stuff to get done. You have to family events, and then you have to have time to make sure you get your softball done and your schoolwork done. And then you should have a time for fixed commitments, study sections, and times for other tasks. You should know I'm gonna study on Wednesday, stuff like that. And you do not want to wait last minute to start a project or work for school, or you just don't want to wait last minute because it's a lot more stressful. And then I learned how reading muscles work. There's 8 steps for this. The first step is preview. Second step is outline. Third is the question. Fourth is the focus. 5 is flag answers. 6 is the recite, and then 7 and 8 are both review. You need to be focused mentally, physically, and temporarily. Reading text improves your understanding and vocabulary. If you read a lot of books, you'll have a bigger and better vocabulary. And I need to start reading more books so I can open my vocabulary more. Overcoming confusion, how do you respond when you are getting confused in a reading assignment? Sometimes, if I get really confused and frustrated, I'll stop. And I'm trying to learn that you have to read it again, look for essential words, hold a mini review, read it out loud, talk to someone who can help, stand up and ask, skip around it, and then come back to it. Maybe you've spent too much time on it and you need to see something different. If these steps do not help you, then maybe you will need a tutor. My math, sometimes I'm kind of bad at math, so I go to one of the girls on the softball team to help me to be tutored and help me on math. And you can just not give up on it, because you're going to have to end up learning it or something. And it can also, it can create a bad habit. You don't want to start a bad habit. 7, getting things done through information. You need information literacy, which is a set of skills that you can use for many purposes. It's a difference between data and information. Information is an understanding on data, and data is a collection of raw facts and figures. You will truly need to understand the assignment and get it right, because if you don't understand it, then you're not going to really make a good grade on the assignment because you don't understand what it has to meet the criteria. 8, finding the information. You need to find a reliable source. You need to have the specific words, and you will need to go more in depth. And sometimes you can talk to people about their experiences or the past or something to get the information. 9 is note taking. You need to record your observations for the event, and you will need to complete the reading. Sit in the front of the class and try to limit your distractions. Leave extra room in just in case you want to go back and add something you remember and you're oh, that's important, I need to write that. Sometimes if the teacher is going too fast, you sometimes just need to ask to slow down or go back and look at the class material, look at it after class, because sometimes they just forget and it's easy. 10 is capturing keywords. You need to focus on nouns and verbs, taking notes in different colors, and listen for phrases. Sometimes if a teacher keeps repeating something, then maybe it's important and it might show up on the test. And then taking notes in different color, I feel it kind of shows you the different parts you need to know, chapter by chapter. And then ways to predict test questions is you can ask the teacher. Maybe some teachers will not. Notice if your teacher uses causes from verbal, if they keep repeating the same thing. Review your older questions, on your older tests, and review it daily. You want to keep reviewing all the material daily so you just don't cram it, because cramming is not a good thing. And then be ready for your test. You have a review checklist, and this is how I do it. I read my assignments over, review my lectures. I try to master the skills, all my skills I have, and then key course content. I try to go back and see what was the biggest part of this chapter, and then I try to review it. You can also summary all your notes, and I personally make flashcards and I make tests. And you need to plan your reviews. You don't need to be oh, I'm gonna study an hour before the test or something like that. And then the 6th memory technique is be selective of what you want to memorize, if it's important or not. Create associations, create a connection, elaborate, talk about it, use it, organize it, and create pictures a timeline and compare the subjects and stuff like that. And then how to keep from making test taking errors. I did not spell that right. And it's do not second guess yourself. Ask your teacher about the top topics on the test. If you don't understand a word on the test, then maybe if you ask your teacher, he might or she might be able to explain it to you, and you might understand the question. And then you want to do practice questions before the test. And if you run into something and you're not sure to it, you need to read it again, skip it for now, so you don't waste all your time on it. And then maybe look through the test, as you're doing it, look and see if the answer's in the test somewhere, and write the best connected answer down. Use your best educated guess, but do not second guess yourself. And then becoming a critical thinker, being willing to find various points of view, not just your point of view, truly understand it, define the key terms, and look for arguments and use facts. Don't use stuff that's not real or anything like that. And you don't want to just come from your point of view, because somebody else is definitely going to have a different point of view. Don't fool yourself. Do not jump into conclusions. Don't be oh, I know this is going to be on the test because of this. Don't jump to conclusions like that, because sometimes they will fool you. Attacking the other person without knowing anything, don't come at somebody if you don't know the truth, or you don't know the facts about it, or don't start an argument with somebody over a subject if you don't know all the facts and stuff. Pointing to false information, don't point to the stuff that's not true. And then don't second guess yourself, because most of the time if you second guess yourself, you had the right answer the first time, and you go back and you change it and it's wrong. Powerful ways to be a good speaker and listener, maintain eye contact as you're speaking. Try to limit the distractions. I know it's kind of hard to do that, but you have to do that. Practice your speech before you do it. Try to do it in front of your parents, your friends, or somebody like that. And then to be a good listener, you want to listen really closely and ask questions and take interest in it. You just don't want to sit there and be and stuff like that. You want to be oh, okay, that's And then 8, Choosing effective ways in communication. You like want to take account of others, how others feel, and do not just think about yourself. Don't be selfish. Want to talk so each person knows what is going on and everyone's on the same page. Like, don't like get mad at somebody because they're not understanding what's going on because you did not communicate. It may be hard to communicate, but it is better than to try, so conflicts do not start and happen and nobody gets hurt or mad or sad. And like, you don't want to like, okay, like you're on a job and like you need this done and then you get mad at the other person. And then talking, like for me personally, I've had to learn how to talk to my coaches and my professors. It was hard in the beginning. And then managing conflict. If you have conflict, do not attack the other person because of your opinions. Like, you're going to each person's going to have different opinions. Being willing to agree to disagree. Like, don't, like, just get over it. And then sometimes conflict comes from not communicating. Like, sometimes it's from on both parts because y'all both did not talk. If someone does not communicate, and it may cause conflict because they both might get upset with each other because they are not on the same page, or how someone might feel left out. Like, if you don't tell somebody about this, then they might feel left out. And then after the conflict is over, like, don't hold a grudge against them just because of how somebody feels. And that's the end of my presentation.